In today's video, I explained the greatest any percent Gungeon speedrun of all time. We talked about the insane luck Napalm got, the incredible map reading skills he used, and so much more. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by June 1st. Also, quick disclaimer, I can't read Napalm's mind, nor can I interview him because he's Japanese. So obviously I'm only able to explain what he does and make assumptions as to what he thinks. Now, on with the video. We are going to debunk the greatest Gungeon speedrun of all time, which is what my Twitch title says. Recently, I did something pretty cool. Recently being last night at about midnight, 1 a.m. 23rd on the 90% leaderboard. So chat, we are not talking about this run today. This was a pretty good run. We're not talking about that run today. We are scrolling up all the way up here to this run. Now, if you notice, up until this point, the runs are pretty close. We've got, we'll start like, 10:32, 10:30, 10:28, 10:27, 24, 24, 13, 12, 9, 7, and then we go sub 10. We got 9 minutes 46, 9:45, 9:41, 9:20, 9:05, 8:50, 8:43, and then we jump to 7 minutes and 1 second. So today we're going to be answering the question, how did this Japanese speedrunner Napalm beat the second place Gungeon time by a full minute and 42 seconds. First off, Napalm loads in. He's playing with the bullet. That's important because if we go to the leaderboards, let's go back and just let's look at this real quick. Gunslinger, Paradox, Gunslinger, Paradox. This is just Napalm again with the Marine. Paradox, Gunslinger. The next highest bullet run is Wondrous at 10 minutes and 13 seconds. So Napalm's playing the bullet, he's an enigma. This is very different than the regular sub 10 minute Gungeon run. This is astounding. So he's playing bullet, he comes in, clears the first room. Now watch that. I want to show that again. He comes in here. Now watch this. Look how far away he is from this back bullet character, right? Before the sword projectile hits the back bullet, the bullet dies. Now you might be wondering, how did that happen? Well, he used an advanced technique called guard flashing. A lot of the Gungeon community knows about this. It's not too often applied because most of the time, Gungeon speedrunners play Gunslinger. But when they play Bullet or pick up Blasphemy during another character's run, they can use guard flashing, which basically extends the range of your sword swipe by a mile. You can see, look at this. You can see how far away this is. Extended the range by a mile. And you have to do this by, I forget the exact order, but you reload, swipe, and then turn away, or something like that. Those are the 3 things you have to do. And you have to do them in a certain order, and you have to do them very quickly. You have to be very quick about it. But if you can master guard flashing, you can kill enemies from much farther away, meaning the sword Blasphemy becomes way more powerful. So that's something that he's applying. And he's also just using the sword. I'm going to pull this up right here. He's using the sword, even when there's nothing to fight, he's using it to propel himself forward. Because the sword of Blasphemy pulls the bullet forward at a quicker speed than just walking, right? Or dodge rolling. This is what makes the run. This is what truly makes the run. Up until this point, he's been going pretty good, but this is what makes the run. This chest drops, and within the chest is the escape rope. The escape rope is an item that when you use it, takes you directly to the shop. No matter where you are on the map, you go directly to the shop. that means you can skip a major part of the map. He opens up his map, right? Why does he open up the map, you might be wondering? What does it matter? Just navigate the Gungeon and just go into random doors and hopefully you find it, right? Not exactly. Because you can actually learn the algorithms that this game uses to generate its chambers. So you can memorize, okay, well, if I've gone through 2 rooms already and there's 2 doors in the second room, you can kind of predict which way to go, and as a result, you can predict where the boss chamber is. So because Napalm is the world record holder, you can assume that Napalm understands this chamber generation pretty well. And he does, which is why he looks at the map and decides to go up. So he's going pretty quick. 51 seconds, he's at the boss chamber. That's not too bad. He's playing cautiously. He's not trying to take any damage, because if he takes damage, he loses the sword, the magic sword that shoots out of the regular sword. So Napalm's playing cautiously. After 1 minute and 18 seconds, our good friend Napalm has killed the first boss. So here we go. This is where things get interesting. As soon as Napalm enters the second chamber, he slaps the escape rope. Doesn't even move. Now watch this. He stands still for a second and reads the area around him. Why do you think he does that? Here's why. When you enter a new chamber and enter the Gungeon, your timer is paused, right? So let's watch. Let's just go here, right? He enters. The timer hasn't started yet. He teleports. He's right here. It's still 126. He still hasn't moved. 126 still. And then he moves. So the timer starts. So he figures out which direction to go. And he chooses up, because he understands chamber generation. Napalm's using his guard flashing technique to kill things quicker. Still going up. Just scaling the chambers. And then he gets this. So Napalm gets the combined rifle. The combined rifle has 2 shooting modes, right? Automatic and then the honeycomb. So he shoots a bullet and then reloads. And he keeps it stashed away. It's a surprise tool that we'll use later. 2 minutes and 6 seconds, he makes it to the boss chamber. Or 2 minutes and 7 seconds, I suppose, because that's when he enters. Then he does this. He does a technique that I really like, and that's reload tech. So he shoots the gun, and instead of reloading it, what he does is he drops the gun and then picks it back up. And so what that does is when you drop a gun and then instantly pick it back up, it skips the reload time. The comb, I call it the honeycomb because I don't know what it's called. The honeycomb portion of this gun does way more damage than the automatic, and you can see this because the moment he starts the fight, look at the health. Pay attention to the health. The health hasn't even shown up yet. The health bar is not there yet because he just started the fight. He fires the first one, fires the second one. Only 2 have been fired so far. He has not done any other damage, and he took out a huge chunk of the health. He did this in 3 seconds. In 25 seconds, he beats the second boss. So now he's going pretty quickly. In the first chamber, he wasn't going that quick. Second chamber, he's beaten the second boss in 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Now we're on to chamber 3. Napalm immediately teleports to the shop. Napalm hasn't moved yet. Decides to go down. Napalm's actively trying to go in the opposite direction of where spawn is because Napalm knows that the boss chamber is right there or close to it. 2:40 is the time, right? And we know the clock's paused. So 2:40, 10 seconds later, if it'll load. 10 seconds later, Napalm's fighting the third boss. Insane. Napalm's using reload tech, like I explained earlier. That's when you basically drop your weapon and then immediately pick it back up to skip the reload time. All right, 3:16. 3:16. That's 26 seconds of fighting the third chamber boss. That's pretty good. He goes chamber 4. Now, this is already insane. Napalm could choke, and this would still be an insane run. 3 minutes, 25 seconds, and we're on chamber 4? That's cracked. That's insane. Now watch this. Napalm uses the escape rope. Timer hasn't started yet. Napalm's in the shop, realizes, oh crap, I'm super far away from spawn. This is great. Enters the first room. Fights enemies. Pretty good. Napalm goes into the second room. Still just fighting enemies. Pretty basic. This room, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the room that Napalm spends the most time in the speedrun. And it's because the room is so big. Not because there's so many enemies, but the room is so big that Napalm can't use guard flashing to kill everything instantly. Napalm goes down. And there it is. Boss chamber. 358. The thing about the combined rifle is that the honeycomb goes through enemies. So it doesn't... I want to make this very clear. This is insane luck. This is the best boss that he could have gotten. The rest of this is insane luck too. But this right here is insane. 33% chance he could have fought this boss. It's the best possible boss he could have fought. Because the combined rifle already does good damage to singular enemies. Using it against the kill pillars, every single one of his shots is going through all 4 of these pillars, doing essentially quadruple the damage that it normally would do to a regular boss. So Napalm is killing this. And there we go. Using the combined rifle and the blasphemy sword in tandem, Napalm manages to finish the 4th chamber, just like that. And now, on the timer, if it'll load, is 4:38. Once again, guess what Napalm does? Uses the escape rope another time. Napalm's back here at the shop. Timer hasn't started yet because Napalm hasn't moved yet. See that? Napalm goes, buys the stuff he needs, and goes to search for the boss chamber. Napalm knows very well how the chamber generation works, which is why Napalm goes left instead of down. And look at that. Look at that. Let me show you this. If I was doing this, I know chamber layouts pretty well, right? But if I was doing this, I would have gone down. And no, I want to make this very clear. This is also just luck as well. While Napalm may know, okay, if there's 2 doors leading out of the shop, that must mean that one of them leads to the boss chamber, and if the door that I go out of has one doorway out of it, that could be the boss chamber. Like, Napalm could be thinking this. I don't know. I can't read his mind. But I want to make it very clear that there's no way Napalm knew 100% that this would happen. And so, immediately, because of practically sheer luck, Napalm is at the 5th boss already. The final boss of any percent. And another thing too that I want to mention about these honeycombs is that they bounce off walls. So the damage is stacking essentially. Each one that he fires doesn't just hit it and then dissipate. Each one of these hits the dragon, bounces off the wall behind the dragon, and then hits the dragon again, depending on the angle that he shoots it at. And most of the time, if he's shooting directly upwards at the dragon, it bounces back down and hits it again. So, after about a minute, Napalm goes into the next phase of dragon. This takes a while, right? Because he's got to wait for all these bullets to dissipate. Nothing spectacular about this. It's just him dodge rolling. But of course, as soon as the heart appears, he uses the combined rifle and just melts the heart. Dragon's dead. All that happens now is Napalm runs up here. Skipping bullet hell, because this is not hell percent. Napalm goes up to the chest, cracks it open, shoots himself with a bullet that can kill the past, and the run is over. Giving us the infamous 7 minutes and 1 second. And that is how the world's greatest Gungeon speedrunner got the world's greatest any percent time.